You see, US and Canada are almost two very big superpowers in today's date. You know why? Because they are enduring talent. They are helping it grow, and they are bringing talent from all over the world to themselves, right? And the way they're doing that is very, very simple. They're advertising as if they are this amazing place where it is very hard to get citizenship or a green card or actually permanent residence, whereas Canada is actually doing the opposite, and it's saying that, look, anyone who wants to come here and invest time over here is going to be a citizen in due amount of time. Now, why is it that these countries are taking such an approach? The end goal is the same. US wants to keep the most talented people in its economy. It wants them to harbor within the US. It wants them to actually grow in the US. And the reason for that, I'll explain in just a bit. And Canada is actually taking a little bit of a different approach. It knows that everyone who is flocking to Canada and is going to be a brilliant person, they will automatically move to the United States. So why would they have a reason to stay in Canada? Well, the reason is permanent residence. So as you can see, both of these are actually trying to bring talented individuals from all over the world into the country. Now, what is the reason? And let me actually explain the reason to you first through a chart, through a table. Once I explain this reason, it will be very clear for you to understand why people are leaving their citizenship in the US, in Canada. They're renouncing their green cards, they're renouncing their citizenship, and why are they moving overseas to avoid some of these issues that these countries are offering them. Let's come here to the chart and let me actually show you first what is the amount of tax. And yes, these countries are actually going to give you the citizenship, they're going to give you the green card, or they're going to give you, one of their residence permits, and you have to actually in return pay taxes to them, right? So let me actually explain first off what kind of taxes are these countries imposing on you. So let's talk about the US first, shall we? Corporate tax. Let's say that you are someone who is a business owner in the US and you are offering services. Well, you're going to have to charge an average 21% corporate tax. These rates over here that I've written, they are from Wikipedia, they're from Google for the most part. I've verified them, so you don't need to worry about it. 21% corporate tax you are paying in the US if you are a business owner. Now you'll talk about income tax. Okay, no problem. You're paying 10 to 51.6%. That's federal plus state taxes combined. Now you'll say, look, the US doesn't charge more than 37% income tax. That's just the federal rate. There's a state rate on top of that as well, right? So now you'll say, oh, Yash, look, I'm only paying 10% because I make less than this much amount of money. Well, in that case, this video is probably not for you, because again, in case you are paying just 10-15% taxes, then it's fine. You can stay in the US, and I think that's a pretty great deal, unless and until you actually increase your income. And at that point of time, once you actually get into the range where you're paying 33-37% federal income tax and state taxes 10-15%, depending on whatever amount you're making or wherever you're staying, you're going to be paying somewhere in between this amount. And as long as you're paying anywhere more than 30% or anywhere more than 25%, and that's just income tax, right? On top of that, if you're a business owner, you also pay corporate tax. There's that. On top of that, whatever purchases you make, you want a microwave, go ahead, buy it. You're going to be paying VAT, you're going to be paying GST, something like that, right? So sales tax is paid, and that in the US is 10%. This is just an average number. It goes higher, it goes lower depending on what you're buying, but again, this is an average number. So again, as you can see, these taxes kind of start to pile up. These countries are not harboring the world's greatest talent just for no reason. They're harboring the greatest talent because they know with the greatest talent comes the greatest amount of money. That means these people are the ones which will be driving the economy. That means these people are the ones which will be paying the highest taxes, and they want those people in their country. So that's what is going on, guys. It's trust me, it's not that hard to understand. On top of that, US will charge you 20% capital gains tax, by the way. So as you can see, this is what US is charging you. This is what the cost of living in the US is, and that's not it. There's of course things like, oh man, I can't get a green card, so I have to basically, suck up to my boss for the next 3 years, for the next 5 years, etc., etc. Oh, if my company doesn't support me, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's going to be so much trouble if I lose my job. All of these things people are dealing with right now, and on top of that, they're paying the country. So you tell me, if after you pay off your loans, if after you are done with your education in the US, let's say, right, and you've gotten a world-class education at this point of time, is it really worth staying in the US? Because a lot of people come to me and they say, yes, I want to live in the US, I want to make a life in the US, I want a green card. I ask them why. why do you want to go through all of this that I'm explaining over here? Canada is not very different, by the way, if you're wondering. Canada can be much worse as well. So the US, basically, the taxes in the US are controlled by the IRS. Canada has something like the CRA. IRS is much worse in a way that, okay, if you are earning, let's say in some other country also, if you have some cafe in Netherlands, you have to pay taxes on that as well. Now let's talk about Canada. Well, Canada imposes a corporate tax rate of 9 to 31%, by the way, first off. Again, this is not an exact rate, this is basically a range. Depending on what you're selling, what kind of services, what kind of products you're selling, your exact corporate tax rate will be different, of course, right? But this is what Canada is going to be imposing on you, somewhere in between that range. Next, you have the income tax, which you will be paying, again, federal plus provincial income tax, and that can come out to be 19% to 54%, depending on whatever your income is and where you are staying in Canada. So these two will in combination decide exactly what kind of a tax you're paying, and if your income is pretty high, again, like I said, if your income is low and you're paying the lowest taxes, then you don't need to worry. This video is probably not for you as of yet, but later on it will be, trust me, and you'll come back to this. You'll realize this later on. Once your income level increases, or if it's already high enough right now and you're paying 30, 40, 50% taxes in income tax, it doesn't make sense for the most part. On top of that, if you're paying VAT or GST, that is if you're buying something from the markets, which you of course will, right, you are going to be charged with a VAT of 5 to 15%. Depending on which province you're in, this may be different. So federal plus provincial taxes apply over here as well, so it depends. And finally, look at how difficult Canada makes it for you to become wealthy. There's a capital gains tax of 27%, one of the highest in the world. So you can see over here, Canada is taxing you really, really heavily, even more than the US. So now you tell me, is it the fact that it is easy to get into Canada? Or now do you understand why Canada wants you to come over there and start working a job over there and start operating a business over there? Simply because of these many taxes. They're actually higher than the US. You can see right over here. This is why easy doesn't just mean cheap. It's actually going to mean that you're paying higher taxes by being in Canada than you would in the US. And this depends from person to person, from case to case. But yes, this is true for the most part. For the sake of this video, I'm going to compare one more country before I get to the actual one that I recommend. Just one more country, and that is India. Okay. Corporate taxes, 15 to 22%. Most of you guys, if you're watching from India, you're used to paying a GST of 18%, right? If you are a business owner, you're used to charging that amount and you're used to paying that amount to the government. Again, this depends. It can be a little bit lower, it can be a little bit higher. 15 to 22% is the average range. Then there's an income tax. An income tax, of course, depends on your income. But if you look at the worldwide level and you're earning a good amount in India, at least, you're going to be paying close to 30%. Sometimes even higher, because there's education cess, there's other kinds of cess that they apply that you have to pay even more tax this year because of, well, COVID, or because of, okay, education, something like that. So in essence, you are paying around 30% in most cases. Again, if your income level is not as such that you're actually paying this much tax, this video would not make sense to you, which is okay. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But in the future, I want you to come back to this video once your income level increases at such that you're paying 30% tax. Come back and watch this once, because it will start to make so much sense all of a sudden. Now, moving on to the VAT or the GST, depending on which products you buy from the market, you have to pay some GST, right? That's 0 to 28%. 0 to 28%. Mostly average is 18%, but still 0 to 28% is the exact range. Most products for 0%, you guys have a very low consumption for that. For 28%, again, low consumption, but 18%, very high consumption for the most part. So that's the average. 18 to 20%, I would say you can assume. And then on top of that, of course, India has to have a capital gains tax. There was recently an update in the budget, I believe in the last 3-4 years only, that they're actually applying a capital gains tax of 15%. So there's that. Now, I think even a blind person can see at this point, if your earning capacity is good, you would probably not want to make India your permanent home. You would want to have some alternative. And of course, US and Canada do not turn out to be the best alternatives, as you can see from this video. Now let me get to the country that I personally recommend. This is where I opened my business in, and this is where I want to help you come as well. Whether you're a business owner, whether you're someone who is interested in working a job, whatever you are interested in doing, we'll have help for you right over here. And especially if you're a business owner, you want to start a business, I'm already working with clients and helping them start businesses in the UAE. So Yep, the country name, of course, is United Arab Emirates. And let me just go over the taxes once again for you. All right. The corporate taxes are at a 0%. All right. By the way, there has recently been an update that mainland companies will pay a 9% corporate tax from June 2023 as long as their revenue level is over 375,000 dirhams per year. So what that means is that if your company is a mainland company, and basically mainland companies, the only advantage they have over free zone companies mostly is that they can operate within the UAE and they can sell within the UAE. Free zone companies don't sell within the UAE, they sell outside the UAE. Okay, that's the only difference, minor difference, but only difference for the most part. Okay, now if you're a business owner, right, and your clients are outside the UAE, you probably don't care about that. And in that case, what you would do is you would not go with a mainland company, you would go with a free zone company. Okay, and in case of a free zone company, your taxes again stand at 0%. No changes in that. Not from June 2023, not later. They have mentioned it that we have no plans of changing taxes for free zone companies. Income tax. Income tax is also 0%, unless of course you are an Arab national, you're a UAE Emirati national basically, right? You're an Emirati. In that case, what you basically have to do is you have to put aside 5% of your income, and that is for social security, and your employer also has to pay 12%. But most of you guys, I already know, are not from the UAE, so if you're watching this, again, don't worry about it. It's still 0% for you. Your income tax stands at 0%. VAT or GST in the UAE has been recently introduced, I believe in 2018, and that's at 5%, which is still one of the lowest in the world. And a capital gains tax of, you guessed it, 0% again. That means infinite avenues for investment and increasing your income. These are essentially the reasons that you would find people driving Lambos and Ferraris and Maseratis over here. It is simply because the government is letting the people enjoy becoming richer. Now, before you go, let me actually talk about why you should come over here. And especially if you're a business owner, you want to continue watching. If you are someone who is a freelancer, you want to continue watching. If you're someone who has no plans of opening up their business or has no plans of having a freelance career as well, either way, then this should be the end of the video for you guys. But again, I hope that I could clarify exactly why I recommend coming to the UAE. We're going to have a lot of things coming up. We're going to have jobs and everything on our website itself. So you're going to be able to apply and come directly over here if you want, right? You can come over here also on a visitor visa and then you can find a job. It's completely up to you. A lot of things can happen. But for those people who are interested in operating a business, having something of their own, or even having a freelance career, let me tell you how free zone companies are the best alternative for you in terms of why you should come to the UAE and open up a free zone company. First, you get 100% ownership, and very few countries actually offer that. 100% ownership, and you don't need to have any Emirati person involved. Then you pay no personal income tax, no capital gains tax, as I explained. Then you have full repatriation of capital and profits from your business. That means you can send the money back to your country if you want. That's completely okay with the UAE. They will never say, why are you doing that? Why are you not maintaining basically, all the money over here? There's minimal export-import duty just in case you are in that kind of a business. 0% corporate tax, again, which I explained for free zone companies. That's a major pro. 0% corporate tax. There's no restriction on currency movements. Whichever currency you want to move, however big amount you want to send to whichever country, they will normally never question you. They will normally never give you any problems. There's a very fast licensing and business setup in the US. In fact, if you go through us, you want to do it through us, you want to connect with me, I can make it happen within 15-20 days maximum. On top of that, there's a low startup and operational cost. You don't have to invest a lot, and there are no restrictions for hiring. Just in case you're hoping to hire all the people from China, all the people from India, all the people from XYZ country, or you want to have only internationals, doesn't matter. The UAE doesn't care. The UAE labor law will not tell you that, okay, if you're operating in the UAE, you have to have Emirati people in your company. No, they will not say anything like that. You can hire anyone you want, and you will never hear a complaint from the labor laws. And by the way, if you're a businessman, you want to set up your business over here in Dubai or any other emirate, you can expect that you will be spending an average of 20,000 dirhams with the visa processing and everything done within this amount only. So that is still a pretty great deal. Now, if you're a freelancer and you're hoping to set up your business over here in UAE, again, then you can do it in less than 6,000 dirhams actually. And that also we have made possible. We are working with one client for that as well. So we are very interested in helping you over here. If you are interested, you want to come to Dubai, you want to come to the UAE, you want to set up your company, your business over here, you want to work from here, or you want to just set it up and then you want to go back to your own country, you don't want to care about the taxes, etc., etc., well, you can do all of that. Again, you have to make sure that you know the laws. You have to make sure that if you're, which country you're from, what kind of laws they have, how many days you can spend in which country if you want to take advantage of the UAE 0% tax. But all of that is possible, and this is where it begins. If you're interested, you can connect with me directly on my Instagram, or on top of that, there is my email ID mentioned on my Instagram page. You can use that to connect with me directly. I'm also mentioning a sales number in the description of this video. You can actually use that to connect with me directly on WhatsApp as well. Now, this number may not be available indefinitely, so this may be removed later on, but the Instagram and email options will always be there, and we'll be more than happy to help you in your business setup. Again, the best pricing, the best possible outcome you will have directly with me. I've set up my company over here and I can help you as well. So if you're interested, well, I hope to see you guys in the Instagram DMs, and yeah, looking forward to working with you. I hope that this video explains why people from the US, Canada, and some of the best countries in the world are renouncing their citizenship and what they have in store in the UAE. Okay? I hope this makes sense, and I would love to know your reviews. Comment down below and let me know about that. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye and take care for now.